University of Maine System Board of Trustees met in Orono today to cover a wide range of issues. One topic that has been the subject of a lot of discussion is the decision on selling UMaine's Frederick Hutchinson Center in Belfast. Earlier this year, UMaine issued a competitive request for purchase, lease, or creative alternative proposals and received multiple offers to buy the property. Today, they formally voted to sell the property.
We as a board talk about our capital plans, and we recognize it identifies density problems, that we simply have too much space for the current needs before us. Demographics are changing, student needs are changing, how we teach is changing, and we need to be ready and to invest where it matters most. Position to move forward has really been building for that changing future, and this is part of it, the discussion about the Hutchinson Center.
With the trustees' authorization, UMaine can now move forward in selecting a buyer, which is expected to be announced in the coming weeks. The board hopes to finalize the sale this fall.